And we can go ahead and look at what's happened to the market and what we can expect. So, for those who are new, I think that's Sky Noob. Well, it's new to my stream specifically. Yeah, hey, welcome. I always like to start with fundamental analysis to basically get an idea of where we might be going, what the technicals are telling us for today. So, this is sort of my context, right? Yesterday, we were at 27 at the Fear and Greed Index, and we've fallen 3 points back to 24. That's interesting to me because technically we have fallen just like $2,000, and normally when this happens, extreme fear is, or a drop to extreme fear is more often the case, but we seem to be holding fairly strong. And there is an argument that we have a little bit more upside as we go progress through the day. So I'll outline that for you guys. But let's look at the liquidation map. So this is essentially your leverage clusters, and you can see that yesterday we completely wiped. Yesterday, the 1 day was situated just like this, where there were more shorts than longs, but the 7 day had more longs than shorts, and I think, yeah, we've decimated a good chunk of the long side liquidity, so the downside, and we can see that there is still this cluster over here. And I was saying yesterday, and you guys can go back to the start of the stream, that I do think a move to 68, even just a wick, would make a lot of sense because we do want to build the shorts again to have a little bit more liquidity to the upside. Of course, on the 1 year, the shorts still outweigh the longs. That's not going to change anytime soon, I don't think. But this is setting up for some upside potential, and we can also see that later in the liquidation heat maps. Looking at the RSI heat map for the 4 hour, a lot of our coins are now in oversold territory. We have the likes of silver. Gold, I don't know where gold is. It's probably all the way down. Yeah. So the 12 hour? Yeah, right there. So gold's even past silver. It's not even on the screen. It's massively oversold. But we were looking, or as I was saying yesterday, I really did think gold was going to correct massively. Right? It just sucks that we weren't able to short it, and technically the long got invalidated, but it's fine. But the crypto space in general is still somewhat neutral, right? There are some coins that are already in weak, like the World Liberty Finance and Uni. Ton is also weak, but we are technically still in neutral. So we can still basically move to the upside from this point, at least in terms of relative strength. Looking at our liquidation heat map, yeah, the longs are now basically gone. They've been wiped out, and the short side liquidity is piling up. We can see that cumulatively this is 187 versus 679, so about a 1 to, what is that, 1 to 3.5 ish. We can see a hotspot at 70k, right? Even a bigger hotspot at 72 and 73. Let's go to the 3 day. Your hotspot are at 75, 75.5, and you've basically wiped out all the longs. And that tells me that there is a good chance we get some upside moves. And I was saying that what I would be looking for is long swings and short scalps. Now, this is what I was pointing out yesterday, that I do think 68.8 is in the cards, or somewhere around the line of 68, because of this hotspot over here. That having said that, there is another hotspot at 75,000. So structurally, if we reach 68.8, it doesn't break structure just yet. So I do think we could sweep that liquidity to get some more gasoline to the move to the upside. But if we break below, what is this? If we break below about 65,000, I'm going to basically rethink our potential to go to the upside. Let's see. I see people chatted. Gold and BTC is absolutely. I agree. It's always a pleasure. Okay, so that about covers our FA. I didn't want to dwell on it for too long. Let's go to the exciting part, which is the TA. So Uh, a little bit disgusting. So let me first turn off the indicators over here on the 4 hour, just to or actually, it's gonna turn off everything, just to basically get a decent view of what's happening right now. So of course, I was one of the first people to call this descending channel here on stream and I think in Chart Prime in general. Right, we have this descending channel. We broke out of it. We retested it. We bounced off of it, and then we headed up. We also formed essentially a triple bottom on the way up. Now, currently, we got rejected at the 1 week dynamic reactor, which is also the 12-hour dynamic reactor, and that's where I told everyone to take a short, and we reached full take profit on that. So congratulations to anyone who took the short. We made money, right? Obviously, now if you closed it, it kind of sucks because we could have made more money, but profit is profit. What we're seeing right now is this trend line that was stopping us initially seems to be basically your final bastion of support, if it even reaches this point, right? Because technically speaking, what's happened is we are now forming. Oh, I didn't mean to hide that. We are now forming a rising wedge here on the 4 hour. And what's so interesting, and this is why I like Confluence and why you guys should be looking for Confluence, right? Note that our point of interest in terms of volume, the most traded volume on the 4 hour, which happens to be right at the top of the money flow POC or point of control, and where our bottom trend line is basically at. That's very interesting because rising wedges. Oh, I'm okay. Maybe I shouldn't have done it. Rising wedges typically break to the downside. That's just how it works, right? Rising wedges typically break to the downside. Now, there are instances where they break to the upside, but those are rare. Note that our CPO plus, our MVP ribbon, and even price action and our indicators for price action and structure are indicating a move to this area, and this will act as a very strong support. We'll be overextended on our CPO plus, we'll be overextended on our momentum, indicated by the MVP ribbon. We'll be at a place where we had the most trading volume. We will be at the point of control and point of interest and the bottom trend line, which happens to have been our support for 1, 2, 3 times already. Technically 4 if you want to extend it all the way down here, right? But yeah. Now, structurally, it's still fairly weak. I'll admit this is bearish, and a move down to this area could easily capitulate down to 65. And when it breaks past your quantum reactor, that's when I'll probably rethink some of our potential lower high zones, and this could have been it. But I do want to make that argument because if we looked at where the FA was showing liquidity, it was also around 68.2 or at 68.8, around that area. So to me, it makes a lot of sense for a move to this point and we bounce off of it. Which is why I kind of want to introduce the first idea of the stream, and I realize that this is incredibly convoluted already, so let's just go here. Yeah. Where we were yesterday. And then we can draft it. First trade idea of the stream is going to be along at this point. Again, I'd like to emphasize ideas are not endorsements. I'm not saying hop on this trade right now. But what I am saying is that there is a likelihood this plays out and I want to capitalize on it. But for now, I'm going to leave it as an idea. And I'll be true to my word. I do think you get a move to maybe 82. Obviously, it would be great if we get a move back to 90 and then really reject off that resistance. But, that might not happen. Okay, let me see who else is here. Hey, Wraith. Welcome. GS Aussie. Welcome. Thank you for hopping on in. I know it's really late where you're at, so I do appreciate it. Ooh. I don't know how to pronounce this. I don't know if it's like a hard J or a soft J, like Aljosa? Aljosa? Motore? Yeah, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, but thank you for joining. I really appreciate it, guys. But yeah, yeah, just correct me if I butcher it. Yeah. But another thing I do want to emphasize, why I also do think we could get at least some relief. Your lower time frames are overextended. In fact, your 5 minutes has formed a falling wedge. And if we go back to the previous chart, your 15 minutes is oversold, diamond trend shift, and the reversal triangle, and your fluid zero line is really close to the bottom. Whenever it's close to the bottom, it becomes easier for English. It becomes easier for momentum to basically become overly bullish again. So, I do think that while we did break below 70k, it might not be the end of the world if you're holding spot, like me. But if you're not holding spot and you're strictly trading, then trade away. I mean, I'll be trading away myself. Hold on. Let me just remove my steering. I actually don't know how people call this. Steering rod? Stirrer? I'm guessing stirrer is the right term. But yeah. We just stir this a little bit. Okay. I need to grab some tissue. I'll be right back. I think it's just behind me. Thank you. Yeah, my mic has like an independent mute, so I don't have to click on stream. So yeah, but anyways, looks like the lower time frames are trying to get back up, trying to recover. But I don't think we're going to recover just yet. I am interested in the 68.3 region. Let's go to the 12 hours, see if we can spot anything that can be of use. Yeah, even your 12 hour isn't oversold yet, right? Also note that there is a gap from here to here, so it makes a lot of sense for you to move to this point. Now, when you get to this point, notice that your quantum reactor is going to be really close to your dynamic reactor eventually, and you're building some sort of uh, maybe bullish butt cheek, essentially a higher low sort of higher low sort of structure. Granted, you do have an ascending trend line, so not entirely sure what that could be, but a move here makes a lot of sense to me. A move back over here also makes a lot of sense to me, and a move to this region makes a lot of sense to me. Now, can we do all of this within the next week and a half? I don't know. Again, I've been on record saying that whatever happens in April, the whole sell everything is not, it's not technically true or technically right from a logical thing, but I do expect April data to be terrible, and economics, you often make self-fulfilling prophecies, right? So a move to this area, regardless of whether we get there in April or not, I do think I want to frame some shorts at this point. Oh no, no Daga. Aljos is right because I had my mic on mute. So for example, I'm holding my mic right now. I'm just press this button and it would basically mute. Yeah, and I forgot that I had muted it. Yeah. Thank you. I do appreciate that that you think I have a pleasant voice. Uh, Considering that I can speak like Mickey Mouse. Oh my goodness, like Mickey Mouse and a couple other characters. I don't know if you guys want to hear that. I know Daga's heard it. I'm not sure if Eddie's heard it before, but for Wraith, Sky Noob, GS Aussie, and Aljoss, I don't think you guys have ever heard me speak in different tongues. Yep. Yeah, I got the memo. Yeah. Understood. Very much. Okay, let's go to USDT dominance, right? Also, for context, those who are new here, we'll probably look for some proper endorsements at around 10:30. At least that's what it's been like for the past couple streams. Reason being, we don't want to trade in the first 30 minutes or so because it's just volatility. Wall Street's trying to get their orders in. So let's not try to predict what they want and let the algorithm do it for us. Part of trading is waiting and being patient and then acting, right? Looking at USDT dominance, it's playing out how I suspected it would play out. So currently, it's kind of funny because we did get like a triple bottoming thing going on here, right? We got a triple bottom thing, and we now had like a triple top kind of thing going on. But now it looks like we're setting up for some kind of double bottoming thing. But if you're following this trend, it could could absolutely become another top. We are rejecting off previous week high, and I did say that you're likely to go here because of this high volume node. And so far it is playing out as expected. So now the question is, do you close bearish, or like does this close as a sort of reversing candle, like a topping candle, right? And a topping candle, of course, is one with a long wick. It could have a minimal body, but we do want some sort of red bearish. That looks like a flask from the science lab. But we do want some, that is not a square or rectangle, but we do want a little bit of body, even just a little bit, to tell us that, okay, the selling pressure, which is funny because you're not technically selling dominance, but there is some sort of bearish pressure pushing the action down. And of course, when it comes to USDT dominance, if you want upside, you want downside on this this metric right here. So we are testing the zero line right now, which means that tomorrow, Friday, going into the weekend is going to be very pivotal. And every person says you have to watch this. Oh, it's pivotal, right? But and I get tired of it too, because I hear myself saying it often. But the thing is, as traders, as investors, even if you don't do leverage trading, you're just doing spot, right? Every every big move in the market is critical in how you adjust your strategy. If any of, I'm sure a lot of us here have probably taken a business class or even just a business course, right? Adjusting your strategy is always important to meet the ever-changing environment. And the thing is, we don't know. Unlike certain things in business, this is something we can't fully know. There are some factors we actually know. Even in business, there are certain things you really can't fully know, unless you're manipulating the business space or like the landscape itself. But anyways, that goes true for everything, if I think about it. So yeah, let's see how USDT dominance closes, right? Because I do want to frame some buy swings and then short scalps. That's what I've been very keen on doing. Of course, we do have our long from is it here? Yeah, so we still have our long from way back over here. I was awake at like 7 a.m. my time. So yeah, 7 a.m. GMT plus 8. So this is still playing out fairly well. Again, I do want to move to this FVG here. That to me makes a lot of sense. Given the high volume node, it's possible you extend all the way up here. Right? To me, that also makes sense. So yeah, I do want a potential move back over here. That's sort of what I'm looking for. Granted, I think the 1 day point of interest, yeah, it's over here. So we're basically in the process of trying to fill this gap out and gap into the next high volume node to make it the next point of interest. Your CPO plus is getting exhausted, right? Your short futures are increasing, but your buy orders, your spot buys are increasing as well. So that's fairly interesting. We can reconcile that as sort of leverage traders just taking uh, uh, uh using this swing to the downside as an opportunity to go on high leverage, whereas uh, investors are spot buying Bitcoin as we speak, and therefore they do think that there is something worth buying at this point. Yeah, so Bitcoin's going back. Let's see how it does. Hey, Gur, welcome, man. Oh, sorry, Mila was also here. Hey, Mila, welcome. My bad. I got too focused on the charts there. Hey. Didn't we just see each other? How many hours ago? 12, 18 hours ago. There we go. I think we just saw each other 18 hours ago. Yeah. Yeah. Uh, well, looks like we're waiting to see what Bitcoin does at this point. If it rejects, I do think we can get a long swing. But again, I am interested to see if Bitcoin can go to 60 to this level right here, 68,339, because I really do think if you get to this level, of course you can fake out of the rising wedge and then you can head back up. To me, that makes a lot of sense. But of course, structurally, this could be risky, right? But there's a lot of liquidity here, lots of liquidity. It's also the price with the most traded volume. It's also the money flow POC, and it's the bottom trend line that has been supporting us for the past 4 times. Like technically, if you draw this, then that is a very ugly straight line. Let's see. Technically, if you no, let's no. What am I doing? I don't know about you guys, but geometry, like knowing the properties of angles and shapes and whatnot, finding the area, whatnot, that was easy. But the drawing part, that was my greatest weakness. I think one time my teacher asked me to draw a triangle. I drew a square. Not my proudest moment. I still graduated with honors, but it's still not my proudest moment. Drawing a square in lieu of a triangle. Yeah, okay, maybe it's not the last 4 candles, but technically if you drew from this point right here, then you could technically get to a point where you are supporting all lines, right? But let's not push what the dynamics think. What dynamics the what dynamics is omitting? There we go. Yeah. Let's go with that English. BTC dominance still in the choppy zone. Not ugh. Nothing interesting so far. Looks like Bitcoin on the 5 minutes is breaking out. We can take a long scalp on the retest, so I'm not too worried, right? But yeah, let's see how things play out. Yeah, let's go back to the 4 hour. But yeah, I guess just out of curiosity, I wanted to know if you guys have more shorts than longs or more longs than shorts, or if you're not trading at all. Which one? More longs than shorts, more shorts than longs. Which one? Oh my goodness. But thank you, Daga. Yes is a yeah. Oh man. Okay. Quad witching. What is quad witching? That's a new term. I've never heard of quad witching. Ooh, this could be something. So this has now become the point of interest. Uh, Actually, I don't think this is gonna play out. Uh, it might. We have to wait and see. But I'm more I'm more inclined to do something like this. Yeah. Oh no, I didn't want to make that. Oh, thank you. Oh, so it's a. I see. So it's like a. Okay. Quad witching. I'll remember that. I'll put that in my vocabulary. Thank you for teaching me something. Hey Henry, welcome. Yeah, no Quidditch. Oh my goodness, I have like I have a couple Harry Potter wands at the at my desk over there. One for the homies. Oh yeah, no, Soul's doing uh not that great. um Again, little disappointed with Soul. It did break out of a, a little bit, but then it kind of just hopped back in. I think it's too scared to make any moves at the moment. Granted, it is on the dynamic reactor of the 4 hour, so you could bounce from there. But if your 1 day looks like this and your 4 hour is over here, but then your MVP ribbon's like that, I think Soul's gonna continue down. It's such a shame. Solot is a great ecosystem. It's just not living up to expectations at the moment. Yeah. So I was looking at this idea for Bitcoin Cash. Uh, I'm not sure how it would go because if it falls to entry, technically it would be bearish. It could also find support at this point, but I think I'll just leave that idea for now. Oh, Daga, you made Gur mad. That's not very kind of you. And so I know OC is doing a short here. It'll be funny if I hedge against OC. Just be like, oh, OC, you're shorting XRP now. I'm longing XRP. The fact he watches these, he's gonna be so angry. Okay. Oh my goodness. Actually, do you guys like Greta Thunberg? Yeah, it's crazy. Oh my goodness. Hey Gerald, welcome. Oh my goodness. Okay, it's 10 p.m. Time. It's time to get serious. and actually look for some setups. Oh, girl. Oh my goodness. Good morning. Good morning. Ah, man. Actually, let's look at our golden boy. See how he's doing. Well, gold hasn't fallen far enough in my opinion. I think it should go down to 4,300. Uh but if you close like this on the 4 hour, you can argue that this was a liquidity hunt. But even if it is, right? Wick theory will tell you you got to fill out at least 90% of that, so you have to go back down. No, you are massively oversold on gold. Thank goodness, because it's just extremes right now. Massively overbought at one point, then massively oversold. Your one day is at the lower extremity. You are getting weakening bear strength, but your MVP ribbon still has room to extend, which tells me this isn't over. Uh, I think you're really going down to test that 200-day moving average. So if that's the case, I think going into April, my strategy is going to be longing precious metal and shorting Bitcoin. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'll leave this idea here for now, right? And notice that we stop just right next to the next high volume node from this point. So we were over here, we kind of just gapped to this point, and then we gapped again here, which is why I really love volume profiles, because they're a little bit of a cheat code sometimes for also determining some levels. I think that something like this could definitely play out. Gold might even go to all-time highs again. That wouldn't surprise me. So I'll leave this as another idea and inform you guys if I think that could play out. And of course, I'll be setting alerts along the way to remind me to look at the charts so I can go back to these ideas. So back to when entry sold short. Good question. Well, if we're going by the logic that Bitcoin is gonna go back up before the end of March, heading into April, I do think there are two possible and likely entries for Sol if you're doing a Sol short. Something like 108 would make sense. Something like 116 would also make sense. However, she's gonna be funny. I'm like, okay, let's enter 108 and then let's short Sol to -76. What the fuck? Has anyone ever tried putting a negative number in an exchange? I don't even think it's possible for like your take profit. I don't think it's possible. But I would short Sol all the way back down to well, probably have to look at where the final TP would be. But I think somewhere at about 47-ish to 40 would make sense. Because at least here on the one day, the next support is at 24. I see. Thank you, Daga. I appreciate the effort. But yeah, at least for science, for scientific purposes. Yeah. Imagine if it just pushed through. I'll take profit when Bitcoin reaches negative 100,000. Man. At that point, aren't they paying you to hold Bitcoin? That would be a great arrangement. Let's look at silver. So I've been getting a lot of notifs on silver. So obviously this long, thank goodness I didn't think about that long idea. But your one day is approaching oversold. It's overextended, but you still have room on the MVP ribbon. which again tells me that a better idea would be to put a long right over here. So right where the high volume node is, 200-day moving average is also going to be there to catch silver if necessary, right? And then below that point of interest, and then you can potentially go back to all-time highs. Something like this would also make sense to me. Now, structurally, would that make sense? It could, right? If you put your tinfoil hat on, I should get one because OC has one. Uh, or if you put your army cap like Piper, right? You could argue this could be a inverted head and shoulders scenario, right? You could argue on that premise. It could play out like an inverted head and shoulders or like a very weird Adam and Eve pattern. So unfortunately, I don't think we're getting bullish butt cheeks for macros. So I don't know if Little Fish is here, but someone has to tell him the terrible news. Hey, quick question. I'm just getting into trading in the strategy and I was waiting for a 9 count over Bob. Ooh, okay. So for context, I'm not all that familiar with 9 count. So I have tried it before, but I just couldn't get it to work for myself. Now I do have experience, of course, with overbought, oversold (OBOS), but what I would do, since I can't give inputs with confidence at the moment, or give input with confidence on sort of whether that would work, is try back testing. Like look for your confirmations, and then across like maybe the 1 hour or 4 hour of any chart or any asset, let's say Bitcoin. So what I would do before as sort of a back testing trick, I would do everything manually. Now, of course, you could put some parameters, but I find it just simpler to just do it manually. Da, 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 da. Okay, so Daga, with his excellent wisdom, uh, yeah, I would look for very similar with Daga. I would look for about 3 confluences. The more, the better, right? Um, for me, it's at least 3 on the CPO plus your chart, or yeah, 3 on your chart prime oscillator plus, and then at least 2 on your price action, at least for entries. So what I would do is I just slap the indicator in, or actually it might even be faster if I just 4 hour then remove everything. And then let's minimize this. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. No. There we go. So, for example, if I wanted to enter short, this right here has 3 confluences: overbought, money flow divergence, and reversal triangle. Right? I just look for where that candle closed, right over here. Now, of course, it's not necessarily going to be accurate because when you do backtesting, you're kind of removing uh, when when these divergences form, because they could have formed a little later, but well, essentially this is just a practice of being able to spot those ahead of time, right? And then put above the last swing high, go for 1 to 2, right? And that looks fairly profitable. And I would just keep doing that, and then just getting a percentage of how many times it's right. And then I would subtract maybe 4 or no, I would subtract about 5% from that total to account for possible lags or delays and my human error. And then if the number's above 65%, I would say it's a pretty good strategy. Yeah. So do that. And then another one over here. Like over here, there's 3 points of confluence: money flow divergence, bullish div, upward reversal triangle. right? Look for where that close. You could enter maybe on the close of the next candle even to maybe offset some of that. Go for 1 to 2, and technically this swing would have been profitable, right? Sounding like every other indicator uh, reviewer out there. But yeah, so that's how I would look at it. Feel free to just back test just like this and then pen paper. But if a strategy works for you, you're making money and you're making it and you're very consistent, then I think it's a good strategy. Yeah. Okay. This was the idea from earlier. Well, technically it's in already. I don't know if I want to hop in anymore, considering the CPO Plus is kind of on the verge of heading down. But let's just leave it as is for now. Because that the opportunity has passed a little bit. Now for swinging the 4 hour. It's here. Oh, hey, little fish. We were just talking about you. Welcome. Thanks, man. Can you also explain the blue, green, and red lines of the... Sure. Yeah. So blue, green, red lines. So these are your divergences. Of course, you can change the colors of your divergence here. Essentially, this is bullish, bearish, hidden bearish, and then multiple divergences. So if it's multiple, it's just gonna be on, if it's at the top, it's multiple bearish. If it's at the bottom, it's multiple bullish. Essentially, they tell you whether or not a move is exhausting. For example, when we got this bullish divergence, note that price action was headed down. So from this point, price action, it's from here, price action is technically down, right? Technically it closed like that. So it's lower, it's a lower low, but over here we made a higher low, bullish divergence. So that means that even if price action is putting in the lower lows in terms of strength and in terms of the magnitude of the move, our CPO Plus is telling us it's weakening, right? So bullish divergence, you can expect some sort of bullish move after a bullish divergence. Of course, it's not always going to play out, but it just tells you if a move is weakening. Now, a hidden bearish divergence, or actually, let's talk about the blue line, which is the hidden bullish divergence. Hidden bullish divergence is also pretty cool. The factors behind the hidden bullish divergence is that you're essentially looking for, well, shoot, what are the factors again? It's a lower high, no, higher low, but then a lower low. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember. But essentially, hidden bullish divergence, if you see one or if you spot one, expect some sort of exhaustion in the move and you want to head up. Bearish divergence, which is this red line right here, that tells you that a move's upward strength is weakening. So expect a move going down, right? And you can see at this point and at this point, you did get a move to the downside because the moves to the upside were weakening. And this pink line right over here is a hidden bearish divergence, right? And you can see after a hidden bearish divergence, it's pretty good, right? You actually got two right there. It's hard to see the first one, but it's over here. And you technically did get a move to the downside, but it was short-lived. But over here, you did get the move to the downside. So yeah. Time frames. So when we talk about swinging, it could be anywhere from at least 6 hours, so intraday, to a couple of days, right? What I would do for swing trading is basically setting up a multi time frame analysis. And for those who are waiting for me to give a signal, I will get a signal in like within the next maybe 30 minutes for sure, uh, if I spot anything. But essentially, I would do multi time frame analysis, the right one or however what orientation you're more comfortable with. This is going to be your higher time frame, and then I'll go to a lower time frame. And essentially, what I'm doing is the higher time frame is my bias, right? If my bias says over here, let me let's actually just stick to the CPO plus here, and let's turn all of these off. So if this is saying it's oversold and it starts transitioning, my bias will then be long. I want to look for long moves, right? And then notice here on your 30 minutes. Oh, I need to blow my nose. All right. Notice here on your 30 minutes, you also got a bullish divergence. So essentially, we are looking for a long on silver, for example. So we're trading silver. We're looking for a long on silver. Now, this is where other indicators like your market dynamics and your bar magnified volume profile is going to help a lot, because it tells you where support and resistance, where the support and resistance lie, and it also tells you, for example, your discount, your premium, your FEGs, and which prices had the most trading volume. So now that we've essentially established a bias, right, let's go over here and at least turn these guys on. You can also see here on the 4-hour, our point of interest is back to 84. We did bounce off the discount zone. Wait, why is this 4-hour in 3 hours? Is this a replay? No, it's not. What? That's weird. How about Bitcoin? It's a 1 hour. But yeah. So we are looking for some kind of long here. Now, you could take a long here at the discount at 65, because of the fact that although you got a bullish divergence, price action could still send you down. You can see on the higher time frame that it is also a long wick, so we could be looking at a filling of the wick before we get any real upside. So that is a 5.76%. So 70% of roughly 58% is 40 something percent. So 4 point something percent ish. Quick math, yeah. So let's go 4 per, closer to here, something like that level. So you could be taking a long over here, and that could actually make or form a bullish butt cheek pattern here at the discount. So once you've been able to identify a great place to enter, like right over here, you simply project, put your order in, and then put your stop loss reasonably far from your support or some kind of support that you have. Then I would always say aim for at least 1 to 2, but since you're a beginner, 1 to 5 is about fine, right? We do want more reward than we get for risk. Yeah. Okay. That's one way to go about it, little fish. Yeah. I feel like if we didn't just cop out to paper straws and actually developed a plastic that could degrade faster, I think that would have been the better solution because drinking from paper straws it kind of sucks. It really does. It really does. Okay, back to Bitcoin. So we did get rejected off the support. Actually, let's go to fresh. Thank goodness that was just an idea. So I do think this is gonna be the guy that plays out. So I'm going to set a trade like this, or set a trade. I'm gonna call a trade like this. I think I will actually. Yeah. No, there was a point where I was just sipping on it, and then suddenly somehow I crushed it, and then I couldn't use it anymore. And I was drinking a milkshake, and I was like, "What am I gonna do with this? Like, I can't drink the rest of the shake." It's to get with the times. Yeah. But yeah, I think I'll call this as a swing. I'll try to look for a scalp that we can do, but I think as a swing, this makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, I think I'll call it. Oh yeah, no, of course. I mean, lives are the perfect time to go about this. I'll just post the signal and then let's discuss what other indicators I got. So I'll just quickly, at this point to save on time, I just copy whatever old swing I have, and then I just go, okay, problem solved. Ooh. Excuse me. Dollars. Ooh. Can't even reach that far. Uh, maybe to the 2.618. That could be something. Okay, so got the signal posted. Periodic volume profile. That sounds cool. No, I haven't. But is periodic volume profile like visible range volume profile? Like, I'm guessing by the sound of it, it changes. Based on a certain period. Oh yes, going back to Wraith's inquiry. Uh, yeah, let's go back to single screen, maybe 4 hour. Yeah, so let me walk you through a couple things that I have here. Uh, Actually, one day might be better because I have. Yeah. Yeah, okay, we got data. Oh, but some things might not. Market dynamics didn't play out. Okay, let's do. Let's do Ethereum actually. Okay, so first things first. Of course, there's the CPO Plus, and I've modified it a little bit. For example, I changed uh, the tops and bottoms because I wanted to be able to see your money flow divergence uh, and your diamond trend shifts a little bit better. So I changed mine to label up for MFI up and then label down for MFI down. So I really modified it to fit my trading preferences. Next up, I do have the MVP ribbon. And what's cool about this is it, unlike your typical momentum indicators like MACD, this lets you gauge the strength or maybe the magnitude of a move. And because it's in a ribbon format, you can also use tricks like this fluid zero line to basically have some sort of support and resistance that momentum would have to break through. So we can see that I got this from Pro, but you can use Pro Plus. I just got lazy in changing it. But when you have that set, there are no other settings. It's just this. I like to use this in conjunction with the CPO Plus to gauge whether or not a move still has room to extend. And if they both align, like over here, then there is a good chance you do get some upside. Measures the volumes on individual candles best used on. Ooh, that's pretty cool. I'll have to look into it. Yeah, that's actually really cool. Let me actually write that down. Yeah, I might be Gen Z, but I have the habits of an old man. Well, to be fair, my dad was like 60 when I was born, so uh, when my classmates were listening to Usher and Justin Bieber in the car, I was listening to Air Supply and Kenny Rogers. Oh my goodness. Periodic volume profile. Just type that down. Type that down. I'm writing it down. Goodness gracious. Yeah, so I use this in conjunction, right? And when you get above your fluid zero line, momentum is overly bullish, even if it tips, and you can basically see whether or not you're getting overextended. Of course, these bottoming bars are very useful to start looking for a bottom, right? This is just a general point of confluence, and it says that if you are a spot buyer and you get big bars like this where it gets all the way to the top or the upper extremity, then you could be spot buying very slowly. And you can see even if you started spot buying here and you spot bought here, it would have still been really good, and you at a point you would have been in profits, right? Because the average of this is over here. Oh, that's not a straight line. It would have been over here. So you would have been in profits, and then you could have taken profits and overbought. It's really, really simple, and it's really cool. So, yeah. Next up, let me minimize these so we can better review what's on the price action, and we'll start one by one. So the trend classifier is really just what I use to color my candles. I like it because it allows me to basically have a sense of relief. For example, if I'm doing a swing long, swing long. If I'm doing a swing long, and let's say I did a swing long here, hypothetically. Oh my goodness, what a sniper, right? And I wanted to know whether or not I can still continue with this long. I would basically just wait for the first red candle to appear, right? This would have been great, but I could have exited right here at the first red candle because that tells me that in terms of market structure, we are starting to lose that bullish strength and we are headed down. Right now, even if this is technically on its move down, because it's yellow, I'm basically obligated to just wait a little bit. So these fruit loop looking colors do help with that understanding, but I would say that they're not necessary. But it is nice to know whether or not uh, the market is ranging, right? Now, Market Oracle Pro Plus, I use it primarily for the quantum and dynamic reactors. I treat them as moving averages. So a lot of people will say, "Oh, you need a long moving average and a short moving average." So the typical or the the most famous ones are like your 200 MA and 50 MA. So some people will maybe do other stuff, but 250 are your standard, right? Your gold standard. But on stream before, I have shown that these basically call transitions much quicker. So, for example, this bullish cross that happened here when the dynamic reactor crossed above the quantum reactor, which is set to slow, right? It crossed above it, and we got a bullish move. And then the moment we started breaking below it, we got our bearish cross right here, and it was confirmed right here. So for me, it signals the cross earlier, and it's also more useful because there's sort of a range to it, whereas a line is just a line. I find that breaking a reactor or breaking past a reactor is more meaningful than breaking past a line, even if you modify the thickness of it, right? So I use them as my moving averages. Market dynamics is of course useful for spotting support, resistance, liquidity, FEGs, what have you, and they're very nice. So right now ETH is going down, but we can see that there is a prime block, which is it's primed for reversals with 47% bullish delta, 73% of orders are buy orders, and it's a strong prime block with macro support right there. So if you go back here, there's a good chance you spring back up into 2,500. Now, Fibonacci Archer box is just so that I have an automatic fib. So, yeah, that's basically it. And you can modify this if you want a little bit more fibs, like the 786 or the 0.5. But for me, the 618 is enough. All chart patterns is a trading view premium pattern. So if a pattern indicator. So if you subscribe to Trading View Premium, it lets you have this. I just like looking to see if there's anything, and if there's nothing, and like, okay, whatever. So Bravo Kit's actually redundant here because technically speaking, you can get your 200 day and 200 week on the Whale Kit. For me, the Bravo Kit's a little redundant, but I got lazy, so it's still there. So the Whale Kit, I just use it for the chick magnet to also guide where I think price could go. It helps with just understanding or like looking for a bias. I don't know why it's not appearing though. Then bar magnified volume profile, we went over it already, and I know I went over it in a few other streams, but essentially it's great to know where people were placing their orders. The theory, of course, is that if you have a gap like this, you gap up to the next node and then to the next node, and this acts as support or resistance. So yeah, hope that answers your question. Let's see who else is here. Oh, we got quite the increase in people. Welcome, Hemdroid. It's been a while. Dimitar, it has been so long. Raptor, Ken, love the name, and Red Panda. And Red Panda has a green Discord profile picture. But thank you guys for dropping by. We were just talking about the indicators I use. Oh, and I'd like to preface that don't feel pressured to use the indicators that I use. Right? If you talk to any of the uh, long time subscribers or seasoned traders in Chart Prime, even the pro analysts and special guests like Alex, right? We all use different things. Some people like the True Seven. I don't like the True Seven. Doesn't mean it's a bad indicator. I just don't use it because it doesn't work for my style. Uh, I know Runaire has a different um, use for indicators, a different interpretation. Doesn't mean he's wrong. Doesn't mean I'm wrong. But we just have a different way of going about it. So it's really just exploring the strengths and weaknesses and some quirks of the indicators and then combining it into a system that works for you, right? We're here to basically give you the baseline, but the experimentation and the exploration, which I would argue is the fun part of building your system, is going to be on you. So again, you can write all these down, memorize all my settings, but it might not work for you. It might be confusing. It might not be intuitive for you the way it is intuitive for me. And that's fine. You just need to build your own system. So again, don't feel pressured to use every single one here, because at some point you're going to struggle with I mean to do that. You're going to struggle with keeping your sanity if you have too many indicators that you don't understand how and you don't understand how they complement each other or how you can reconcile conflicting signals. Yeah. You're very welcome. On psychology. Hmm. Uh Watching? Ooh. I'm technically I do love watching people's takes. So for example, I watch Alex, I watch Piper, of course. I watch like Connor Kenny. I also watch Tyler Hill. Uh, and I've also watched. Of course, I watched Bravo. Uh, I also watch. Uh, um, Cohen. Shoot, I forgot his first name. I should remember popular traders, um, but I'm more of a books guy. I guess one thing. I'm more of a books guy. Wow, not to brag. Uh, books are getting obsolete. I love books, but then I do admit they're getting obsolete. And it sucks as someone who loves like writing. Um, in any case, uh, I would recommend looking into not just maybe psychology, but the science behind banking. That I think that would be a great thing to research and sort of internalize. I'm saying this, it's like shilling my own approach, but as a contrarian trader, I base my style off the fact that banks are contrarian in nature, because if they want to keep an economy running, you have to basically do the opposite of what the current trend is doing when it reaches its extremes. So, actually, I don't know if I have a book like in PDF form. I should I know I've sent it here before. I'll send a PDF in trading chat um, if I ever figure out actually what is it. I'll send a PDF soon, uh, if I find one, because I did use it for my course. But yeah, uh, just look into the science of banking. So the psychology is one part, right? Knowing that the market is designed to keep you in fear, to make you irrational. It's also designed to keep you off your toes. It's designed to make you doubt, and the colors and how trades are set up is also designed to just overwhelm your senses, right? So psychologically, everything is against you. Even the exchanges are technically against you. Uh, so look into the science of banks, because the psychology of what traders want to do here is sort of born by the fact that banks have mastered the science of getting you liquidated. They've mastered it to a T. So understanding why banks do what they do, and understanding, for example, Powell's stance, because if you look into how central banks are run, the science of it, then everything Jay Powell has been doing would actually make sense to you. Is it what we want as traders? Maybe not, but is it what's best for the economy? Just to a lot of central bankers, they would probably say yes, given the dual mandate that the U.S. has. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, Daga, you are so right. That is banking. Yeah. Yeah. Printing. Thank you, Henry. Uh, I appreciate it, but yeah, I would say that the going to with the other, because okay, for context, I also watch the other guys, right? I will say that when you get to a certain point in your trading, what they're starting to say, just really widens your perspective. Um, but yeah, I would say that I definitely try to cater more to newer members, for sure. Okay. And also because I technically have the longest runtime, so that's also one thing we have to consider. The other guys, I know, I think Alex, I don't know if Alex has changed from four. He used to, is it still 45 minutes for Alex's show? Um, but for example, Piper and OC, they have 1 hour. I know that for sure. Um, I actually don't know how long Renair's shows are. Uh, but mine I know is one of, if not the longest in our events. It's 1 hour 30 minutes, and prior to, I think, yeah, prior to March, my shows would actually extend to like 2 hours. Which, so imagine just 2 hours just talking, and then when it's such a slow market, we're all just sitting over here and going like, I don't know what's happening, but we're here together, patiently waiting. And I just go, oh, it doesn't look like we'll have a trade today, and I sulk in a corner. But yeah, let's go back to gold and see how it's doing. So again, I really do want gold to go down to this point. This is such an ugly arrow, but I know I drew it on the 12 hour. I do want gold to go to this point. We do get a close on gold in 1 hour and 15 minutes, which means that we have 15 minutes left on the show. But I do want gold to go to this point because I do want to buy. I'm not sure if Draxus is here, but he did say he wanted to start buying at this point. So, you know what? He's probably in profits right now. Excuse me. Ooh. Oh. Let's look at how Bitcoin's doing. So Bitcoin's not looking that great, but then again, our orders over here, so not too worried for now. Uh, yeah, I think we'll just wait this out a little bit. We started losing a lot of the steam that we initially had in opening, right? Because market open was over here. We were basically back to where we were at market open, right? We had this move, this very quick, violent move, and then now we're back to where we were, and it's sort of the trend for the past. Actually, it's been the trend for the past year. I don't know what why I'm saying it's so novel, but it has been the trend where you just basically go back to where you were at the start. It is what it is. But yeah, if anyone else has questions, just keep them coming. Yeah, this show is only as fun as how we engage, because other than looking for potential setups, that's basically it. A lot of my style involves waiting around. I guess we can look for a scalp opportunity. Uh, how's hype doing? I know it started falling again. Ooh. Okay, so 4 hour. This is such an ugly drawn trend line, but you know what? Even if it's an ugly trend line, it looks like it's stuck. So let's let's actually draw this again. Yeah, it looks like it's stuck. It's stuck pretty well for such an ugly trend line that I drew. Actually, it didn't just do pretty well. It is doing well. It literally just touched the FEG there. That would have been great. But your 4 hour does say you want more downside, and you could be falling off that fluid zero line. So that could be a capitulation, which means, at least for me, what I'll be looking for is a short scalp or a short on hype. So maybe a short to the FEG right here, retest that line, break below it, go here to 37. That could be something. I might post this actually. I don't know why, but this fascinates me. Oh, I just moved that one. Okay, let me look back at chat. Oh, thank you so much. Those are some very kind words. What's the best time frame you would recommend me trading? Oh, you're an Oz. Oh my goodness, it's like 12:48 a.m. over there. Thank you for still watching. Yeah. 12 a.m. but it's not 12 p.m. Uh okay. If you don't like staying past 12 a.m., uh definitely swinging from the 12 hour as your higher time frame, then 1 hour or 30 minutes as your lower time frame makes a lot of sense. So if we go back to this example, right? Go to the 12 hour. So you could also do 1 day, but I find that the 12 hour could be more useful just because you're basically cutting things a little bit early, right? And it allows you the option to close intraday still, right? Then you can do 30 minutes or 1 hour depending on how long you want to stay on the trade. So for example, oh, this is not the same thing. My bad. Let me fix the symbol. Yeah, for example, here on the 12 hour, you're waiting for price action to go oversold, right? You're waiting for this to be overextended. You see you're bottoming out, and you are getting at least some sort of bottoming signal on your MVP ribbon as well, right? You notice as well that there's a discount zone right here and a whale support right there. So rather than doing a move here at the discount, you can move your entry right at this point, which also happens to be a high volume node entry. Technically, it's not really high volume node, but at this point, notice how it lines up fairly well with where your initial bounce was, because whenever you get something like this, market makers want to basically revisit that because they know people will just put their stop loss right over there. So they like to either wick past it, like retest right over here, and then really kill some people and then head up. So I'd just recommend 12 hour 30 minutes. You'll be able to sleep for sure, but your frequency of trades are going to drop. But you know that's sort of the thing with swings, right? Your frequency of trades will drop, but it guarantees that you'll be able to sleep. And that is one of the most important things as a trader. Even if you're a scalper, please sleep well. 6 hours is enough. 6 hours is enough. At least 6 hours. If you can get 8, that's perfect. But I'm not sure. I'm not saying I'm not sure that 8 is right. I'm not sure. What I'm saying I'm not sure of is, I remember watching like a researcher say that 8 hours is sort of it's not necessarily true. Like 8 hours is not the minimum. 6 hours is the minimum. 8 hours is just fantastic, and then 9 hours is ideal if you can afford to sleep for 9 hours. But in this economy, sleeping in for 9 hours, I don't know. The last time I slept for 9 hours, it was like my sister's birthday, and I fell asleep on the couch. That was, even if it was the couch, it was like the best thing ever. I woke up alive. You're very welcome, GS Aussie and Wraith. Yeah. I actually don't know why my back or neck didn't hurt. I slept on the couch. There were like no pillows. It was just flat. I have no clue why it didn't hurt, but I thank goodness for 9 hours of sleep. And now that it's midterms, I'm getting like what 3 hours. Oh god, oh this is so fun. We're tapping 200 EMA on the weekly. Is this Bitcoin? Oh, that's Bitcoin dominance. Oopsie. Ooh. Uh, Actually, let me pull up Bitcoin and then let me add the 200 EMA on the weekly. Why did I not type? Da, da, da. Mm. Let's do hot pink. Oh wait, let me make that thicker. Like the thickest possible. Oh wait, sorry, this is regular MA. My bad, my bad. Ooh, you're right. We are tapping it. Interesting. So, again, we are technically squeezing at this point, right? This is resistance. This was support, now it's resistance. This is support and we got past it, right? This acted as resistance, we got above it. So now that you put this into context, little fish, I really do think this is a test of support. This is a test of support. It's a test of the moving average. Moving averages, of course, are essentially an average of the price moves along. Wow. No, don't you love definitions where it's basically just the words moving? Just, you put them in a different order. A moving average is the average of the moving price. Wow, thank you. But yeah, it really does look like we're testing that moving average as support. We did call our long right over here on the 200 week simple moving average. Right, now we have the exponential moving average, which is a little bit earlier. So yeah, let's see how we go. I actually will put an alert right here. I do expect something like this to happen, where you wick quite a bit to convince some people and then you move up. Because at least for oscillators, it is saying that a move up is likely. Our chick magnet is also over here. So I do think a move to the upside is likely. We also have essentially very little liquidity left to the downside, which tells me that this could either close doji or at least above your whale support or whale resistance, because it's resistance now. I am targeting this area. Actually, no, that's not what I'm targeting. I'm targeting this area right here. So starting at 82,920 as my lower high zone, and from there I do think we can get a firm rejection. Would you recommend trading Asia session London? Yeah, absolutely. For me, I don't pay attention that much to London when it comes to crypto. For stocks, these sessions are important. But for crypto, I noticed that London kind of just chops. It doesn't really do much. And New York session always has the greatest amount of volatility. Asia sort of piggybacks on what New York did, because I mean it's right after. So Asia is important for your weekly closes. That's how I always look at Asia. When it's the weekly, I say that I'm tuned into Asia. but I am in Asia, so it's kind of not fair. But but when it's the weekly close, absolutely tune into Asia. I ignore London. I know some people will call that taboo, but let's be honest, not London doesn't do a lot of things, at least for crypto. Like let's be real. Nothing happens when it's London session for crypto. Nothing exciting happens. And in New York, everything exciting happens. Exciting in a bad way, exciting in a good way, exciting in every possible way. Because New York always has a lot more volume. It has a lot more money flow. There's a lot more futures. There's a lot more participants. And generally speaking, if you want volatility, you wait for New York. Asia will always, or not always, but they will usually just have one direction for the day. Yeah, they call Harry Styles and Niall Horan and the other guys. Shoot, I forgot the other guy's name. But yeah, they'll call those guys and they'll sing, and you either go up or down. It's always just one move. At least that's oversimplified, but it happens more often than not. Okay, so we got 3 minutes left. I guess before we close, let's look at USDT dominance again. So we'll be looking at this again tomorrow. Tomorrow's the last stream for the week, and I'll see you guys next week. Don't worry, I'm not gonna leave you guys hanging. But yeah, I do want a weaker close. Something like this wouldn't fly by me. Granted, there's not a wick for USDT dominance, but I do want a push back down, and then I want to see if we can get even lower on this descending channel. Because if we can do that, that lends credence to us pushing to the lower high zone for Bitcoin, and then I would like to see a bullish butt cheek pattern form around this area, right? Breakout, and then we'll buy spot when Bitcoin is like at 40. That is the plan, right? You make fun money in bull markets, but you make generational wealth in bear markets, right? You profit from other people just being irrational, because what's rational is not necessarily intuitive, and what's intuitive is not necessarily rational. It might be intuitive to sell everything when everyone's selling because you need money, but that's irrational. And it's rational to buy or spend when you've got nothing, or when you've got next to nothing, but that's not intuitive. That's not financial advice. Do not spend if you've got like nothing left. Do not do that. That's not good. Don't quote me. I was trying to be smart there. Would you recommend trading? Oh, okay, today one last thing. What's this AI bots for? Yeah. If you do have Prime automation, actually it's free. You can automate some of your trades so that you can be trading while you're sleeping, and they have we have tons of bots with different strategies. You can review them. I'm not sure as to the limitations of each bot, but yeah, you can explore that. Yeah, of course. Again, if anyone has questions, I will do my best to answer them. Just keep coming, and then if I miss it because I'm rambling, just bump it. I'll do my best. And if you have questions but I'm not streaming, just tag me on trading chat. I will do my best to get to them. Exactly. Panic equals profit. What about my bot? Yeah. It's not yet ready, unfortunately, but Chart Prime and I will be working on it so that everyone. Actually, what's funny about my bot is that I'm the one who's going to put in the trade for the bot, so it's not really a bot, it's a human disguising itself as a bot, which is weird. But anyways, thank you guys for joining me today. It is 11:01 a.m., so I'm going to have to end the stream here. But thank you for joining me, and once again, I am Langstrom. I'll see you tomorrow, and don't forget to always use a stop loss. I'll upload the video as soon as I can. Take care, guys. No. It's kind of funny.